little bit sassy, a little bit crazy, a little bit classy. We got dreams and we got goals. We're just a couple of old sassholes.
Hi.
Hello.
Jello.
Hello.
Everyone. Hi, welcome to A Couple of Sassholes podcast. I'm Brooklyn Maple.
And I am Heather Terry. You are not Brooklyn Maple.
Oh my God.
You said that and I was like, yes, she is. No, she's not.
I am Brooklyn Johnson.
She's a liar.
Apparently.
What's your real name now?
It is Brooklyn Johnson.
There we go.
There we go. And for anyone who was not just aggressively assaulted by Heather on my last name choice in that moment, this is our power hour of true crime with fucked up people doing fucked up shit most of the time for no reason and sometimes just because they're cray-cray.
Yeah.
So I'm diving in.
We're diving in.
Heather's like, you're coming in so hard and fast. And I'm like, you know what?
It's pretty on brand.
That is true.
That is very on brand.
And lately, I feel like we have been just like, go, 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 getting shit done. That the second we get into the studio, I'm like, we need to do this fast and hard.
That's you're always like that. You're like that always. And I love it because it drags me along because I'm not always the one that's like, we have to go 4,000 miles an hour. I like to go a steady 75.
I get that.
Like 10 over the speed limit.
That's great. I'm just a crazy lady.
Yes.
And everything feels very elevated and heightened right now.
True.
Very
true.
much so.
Exciting things coming your way. We'll just put a pin in that right there.
Yeah.
'Cause that's it.
We're just going to keep saying that until things actually progress to where we can say anything in 16 weeks or something. Heather's like, I'm going to bring it up every time and we ain't announcing it for 4 more months.
That's right. Got to get, what if the first time listener?
You're right. Let's keep them all on their toesies.
Got to make sure we give the correct names. We got to tell them who we are.
Uh-huh.
First step 1, give the right name.
Yeah, well, it's hard. I've been Brooklyn Johnson technically since Friday at noon. And it is a Monday. At noon.
All right.
So I have not mastered.
I'll allow it.
I don't even have a driver's license that says that shit. Just the government. It's my government name.
Your government name.
Oh my God, that makes me feel so high school. That was what they always said is it your government name? Because everyone's just trashy and stupid. Anyway, I'm going to start my story.
Let's go.
All right. So Lovely Lanning, who you know, was over at our house the other day.
Oh, we love her.
We do. And she had mentioned her daughter, Avery. And she was saying that something about, I'm trying to actually remember what she had said, but she was like, yeah, she listens to the podcast all the time. And we needed to do a truck driver killer.
Okay.
It was like a trucker murder.
That's a lot of R's.
It was a lot of weirdness, and it didn't necessarily fit right in my mouth. So
I'm going to let you have that.
Please do. And because of that, with our sweet little angel today, Avery, this episode is for you. And thank you for the idea. With this idea, though, I have jumped 3 different times to different killers. Probably the most prolific killer is Robert Ben Rhodes, who was known as the truck stop killer. He would have been a great one to do, but no, I didn't have enough time. So I'll have to come back. I was like, I need more juice in the tank to be able to provide that kind of storyline. And today is not the day for it. And then also for just information, because who doesn't love some good info?
Yes.
There are apparently 850 murders that are linked with long haul truckers to date.
Huh.
850.
That's a lot.
850.
That is
6-inch ribbon girls.
6 inches.
And then I'm going to use some references to Wikipedia, Penn Live, Patriot News. I found them on a ranker listing of 12 terrifying truck drivers. Killers, I guess not terrifying truck drivers, because kind of you could argue that most of them are pretty terrifying. And then NBC. I did a big when I was going through this, I then found NBC did an interview. Obviously, it was like a Dateline episode or something like that. Is Dateline NBC?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah. Someone's showing her brains.
Yes.
Anywho, so I actually took like excerpts.
Excerpt. What's it?
I don't either. Excerpts.
Excerpt.
Yeah. Excerpts?
I say cert.
Well, maybe that's right. I took sections out of it and then used it throughout the story. So just so everyone fucking knows. All right. Let's talk about... I need you to stop laughing, Heather.
Okay, sorry.
We're going to talk about Adam Leroy Lane. Have you heard of him?
No.
Glorious. He's known as the highway killer because they ran out of names.
They ran out of names.
I'm like, okay. The other guy got the freaking, what was it? The truck stop killer. This guy just gets, okay, the highway.
What if you were a serial killer and then you got the worst name ever?
They should make all of them terrible names.
Yeah.
So that they're not like feeling fanciful.
Yeah, we shouldn't bloat their ego anymore.
No, fuckers. Okay, so I actually realized I talk 0% about the killer and all about the survivors.
Well, good.
So,
It's
guess
okay.
what? You guys aren't going to find out shit about his childhood. I literally
That's
just
all right.
realized that when I'm reading this. I'm like, oh, this is 9 pages about the victims. Yeah. So
Good.
there it is.
Fuck that guy and his dumb name.
Yeah. So Lane was born on August 7, 1964 in Jonesville, North Carolina. He dropped out of high school and later acquired a job as a truck driver and an occasional chicken plant worker. He lived in a trailer with his wife and 3 daughters. I'm sure I could have looked into his wife and 3 daughters later on. Guess what I didn't do? I did not look into his wife and his kids. No.
His chicken plant employee.
Yeah.
Got
Those
that.
are always winners.
We got that. They're like, who wants to debone these? And he's like, I got it. Me. Pick me. And they're like, Adam, can you calm your tits?
I mean, enthusiasm is A. A for effort. He committed the murders while he made his way through northeastern United States during the summer of 2007. Basically, all of this shit goes down within 1 month.
Oh.
Yeah, probably a week.
Oh.
If I remembered all my dates correctly, which everything's muddled in this brain anymore. Okay, I'm going to pause on that part. I'm not even going to mention it yet.
All right.
Because we're going to go right into the ladies.
Okay.
Our women here. So we have Darlene Ewald. She was a super adventurous woman who loved being outdoors, often spending time on her back patio. She was a very young bride, and so for that reason, essentially, she raised 2 kids with her hubby bear, Todd, and they just really didn't seem to have enough money. That was kind of like the one part of it. Like, she got married really young, raised 2 kids, which means money matters, and she had to crimp. She had scrimp. She had to pull them pennies together.
She had to crimp her pennies.
Yeah.
She bent all of them to shit.
She did. So Todd worked a ton, and though life was good, it was still tough. So their close friends had their teenage sons get in trouble. This is so bizarro, but...
Okay.
So she had been wanting to go on a vacation forever. She has these 2 close friends of hers, and she's 42. So just keeping the ages here.
Got it.
The friends have 2 teenage sons. They get into deep shit of trouble. Like, this is July of 2007. And because of that, they decide not to. They're like, our kids can't go on this vacation in October on a cruise. Mm-hmm. And so they asked Todd and Darlene at dinner. Darlene was so excited. Todd is also like a high school football coach. I threw high school in there. I have no idea, but he's a football coach. And I'm going to guess probably other things because I don't think football coaches actually is what keeps the lights on at home. But who knows? Not here nor there. So it's in October, which is a busy season for football.
Yes.
So they asked them to do it. And Darlene's like, yes. And she's pretty like hurt by Todd saying no because he's like, that's my busy season. And she's like, who fucking cares?
Right.
You know, like she was super not like Brooklyn, but she was just like, she didn't communicate it and they didn't get into a fight over it, but you knew that she was like very disappointed that he wouldn't just take the week off and just fuck those games for 1 week. Other people take vacations in October. I would be so annoyed.
Yeah.
Motherfucker. I don't know. Todd, not a good look. And then Darlene agrees to go.
Okay.
So she's like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm still going to go. All right. Now this is the section from NBC News.
Okay.
And it's Todd. And he goes, I just opened the door and said to her, hey, okay. I got all excited. So anyway, because of that, she was on the phone with her friends, the guy.
Okay.
And they were literally on the phone for like 4 hours. Now that could look dicey, but it really was just them talking about this vacation. So she was just on her back patio, blah, blah.
Yes.
Her husband says, I just opened the door and said to her, hey, I'm going to bed. And she said, oh, I'll be up in a few minutes. I said, yeah, right. Laughs. Because I'm going to breeze through this if their like language is fuddled. So it's not a 100% quote. But anyway.
Okay.
She always told me that, and I knew better. As Todd went upstairs to the couple's bedroom, Darlene was on the phone with Chet Gerhardt, that's the guy's name, making arrangements for that trip. 4 hours later, she was still on the patio, still on the phone with Chet. That's a long fucking time.
Yeah.
While she's sitting there talking to Chet, that fucking asshole walks up behind her, stabs her, and cuts her throat.
What? While she's
just sitting, talking on the phone on her patio.
Oh, no.
Like, they believe the only thing that she probably could have seen was, like, the blade come through to cut her throat.
How terrifying is that?
I don't know. It lasted 2 seconds. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's almost, I don't want to say it's better than someone, like, acting like you're in a Scream movie, but...
Yeah, you're trying to silver lining it. I get it.
You didn't see it come. Mm-hmm. Chet was on the fucking phone with her, and he said, she just said, oh, my God, 4 times, and the phone went dead. Yet Chet couldn't see that the phone was still active, so he just kept trying to get a response. He kept screaming into the phone, and he just kept calling her name while she was on the phone in her backyard. Oh, no. I was like, did something get mixed up? It randomly just jumped to a whole nother Well, we'll have to just act like that didn't happen. So it was July 13th at around 2 a.m. whenever she was murdered. Lane had slit her throat and stabbed her to death with a long knife while her family was literally inside the house. No. The Gerhardts had heard, obviously, he was like, it fucked with him enough that he woke up his wife.
Yeah.
And they drove over there. And they find her in the backyard sitting up in the chair dead with her eyes open.
Oh, God.
So she didn't even stand.
That's a terrifying mental image that you just, and your eyes are really big right now when you're telling me. Right. So I was like, yeah.
They call 911.
Okay.
And her son and her husband are basically handcuffed in their bedrooms. So they call 911. They're dead. She's dead on the patio. Makes no sense that the family is inside sleeping. So they come in there and they arrest everyone in the house. Mm-hmm. And they eventually, like, the husband was so confused that he was like, what is happening? That he looked to see that her purse and her wallet was there. And he was like, well, then she's here. So I don't understand what is happening.
Oh.
So he never knew his wife was murdered.
They were just like, come with us.
They barged into the house, guns at him.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks bad. So she was on the phone with another dude. The dude came over and so I mean, outside looking in, it does look a little suspect.
100%. And that was the guy that like ended up being the one to find her too. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of dicey little things going on here. This was in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Oh.
I just felt like locations kind of matter here.
Yes.
He was 100% chosen to be the murderer, Todd. He ended up taking a lie detector test and he passed. But we're just going to put Todd and his poor little sweet baby wife, Darlene, we're going to put him up over there on the shelf. So 4 days later, we're now in Conewago Township in rural York County, Pennsylvania. We have Patricia Brooks, and she's sleeping on her couch. This is another one. A lot of these towns tend to be like really cute and quaint. Even though we were saying like, oh, Darlene was, not needing, but wanting more money, right? So these are still like really pretty quaint houses in good neighborhoods. I just feel like that's kind of like quaint is pretty much what I heard on every part of every area. She's sleeping on her couch. And it's July 17th, 2007. So just literally 4 days later. And she feels something sharp being driven into her right shoulder at around 2:05 a.m. She finds a man standing behind her. She screamed and tried to stand up, at which point she felt a cutting instrument go across her neck and her shoulder from right to left. He had slit her throat.
Oh, God.
She grabbed her neck and sat down on the couch. Like he literally she was sleeping on her couch. He comes in through the back door. He stands over her and he cuts her throat. Essentially while she's probably like leaning up from like whatever
leaning up to be like awoken out of nowhere.
Yes.
Like what the fuck is happening?
Yes. And her daughter and her mother were upstairs. In all of these cases, people were at home.
Okay. Oh, God.
So he just wanted to kill.
Yeah.
He wasn't touching, fantasizing, raping. There's none of that. He just wanted to kill people. That was it. Like if there was an opportunity, he was just going to do it. She somehow was able to hold her neck that had been cut and stand up and go upstairs because you can't scream. And then get help.
How?
I have no idea. She is one badass bitch.
Yeah.
It was her mother and her daughter. Yeah, she literally went upstairs, got her mom and her daughter, and was like...
So he's just doing that and then bouncing.
Yeah. Very Michael Myers.
Yeah. No rhyme or reason. Just
none. Crime of opportunity. She ended up telling the police that her attacker was white with a, quote, pot belly and wore a hat and a black SERT-like pants. I don't know what that is. SERT-like pants. Similar to a prison guard uniform. She told police her attacker was dressed for the occasion, but he didn't have anything covering his face. Now, there was another witness who actually was paying fucking attention, who was driving to work along Locust Point Road. He told investigators that he saw a man dressed entirely in black walking around at 4:35 a.m. that morning. And they said that he had thought it was odd that the guy was wearing gloves.
Yeah.
That witness also reported seeing a tractor trailer parked near the intersection of Locust Point Road with the Sequihana Trail near Interstate 85. So, long story short, we have a badass bitch that I don't know how the fuck she survived.
Yeah.
And then we also have a fucking person paying attention. So that helped.
I mean, it was July too, you said, right?
Yes.
Walking around in all black and gloves. I mean, I wear summer blacks, but at least I don't wear gloves. So.
I'm usually not walking the streets at 4:30 unless you, too, are wanting more money. All right. Now we're going to boot, scoot, and boogie. Where was that? Was I in Pennsylvania just then?
You were in York, not New York County. You were in York County.
I was. So I was in PA. And now it is time for us to go elsewhere.
Okay.
We're going to go to Bloomsbury, New Jersey.
Okay.
So this is where our 38-year-old Monica Massaro lives. Now, Monica was obsessed with her home. It was on a Victorian street with colonials, and I bet it was just fucking gorgeous there. Though she was young and really pretty and bubbly, she did something most women didn't do, and she would always leave her door unlocked.
Oh.
She said
in 2007?
Yep. Her best friend is the one who they're talking to throughout this. And she was like, she loved her home so much. And she was like, I'm in a safe place. I'm not like, she was like, I'm not going to lock the door. Like nothing's going to happen to me where I am.
I love her spunk, but I advise against that.
I do too.
No matter
especially because we'll put some other pieces together and it's like, okay, no matter how cute and quaint things are. And so here's one thing, too, is they're talking about how, like, cute and quaint it is, but there's an interstate running right through it. And they're like, even with the interstate, it's like a beautiful fucking town.
Yeah.
I'm like, we need to go. So she was running her own house cleaning business. She was pursuing other passions like photography, motorcycles. She loved rock and roll. Her favorite band was Aerosmith, and she was always online, like kind of on those chat things, like chatting with people about Aerosmith. She does. She was always going to concerts in the summer, and her friend thought it was wild that she was actually staying in on that Saturday because apparently in the summertime she was gone every single weekend to a different concert.
I love it.
She had said that she talked to her and was like, why are you staying in? Like, you're never in on a summer night on a Saturday. And she's like, I'm just not feeling up to it. I'm tired. And so she stayed in that day.
Oh, God.
And then the next day came and went and no one heard from her. When Monday had finally come around, Monica had missed a house cleaning appointment. And that is what shot a red flag up. The customer dialed her number and no one answered. And the customer went to her house.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm going to assume it's like
someone that cared about her.
Yeah.
Enough or really wanted their house cleaned.
I really need you to do this today. Aiden was a terror last weekend. There is silly putty
always
in
Aiden.
In the toilet right now. No. I don't know why. Aiden just it became that name after Sex and the City.
Yeah.
And I just love the name Aiden. If I was going to have a kid, Aiden. He stopped by her home, saw that her car was there. He knocked on the door. No one answered. He called the cops. So here's one of I inserted this for whatever delirious reason, but the New Jersey State Police detective was among the first to arrive at her home on that Monday in July. He said it didn't appear as though the house had been broken into. In fact, it seemed nothing much has happened there until he walked into the bedroom and saw the body of Monica Massaro. She had multiple stab wounds up and down her body. It was evident that she had been stabbed inside the bed. Her sheets had been tousled a little bit. It appears that there was a bit of a fight. Later, the medical examiner would determine that Monica had died when her throat was slashed. Her best friend's husband was researching online, and he is the first person that I see that put the two killers together.
Really?
The two murders together. He literally I guess, couldn't get over it either. And so he was looking into it, and he found the other murder in Pennsylvania, stabbing. And they didn't highlight, because I think it was 2 Pennsylvania places and New Jersey place. Patricia, who survived, wasn't necessarily, I think, the one that they were focused on. It was the previous murder. Yeah. And he had just said it like, could there be a connection between the 2 murders 2 weeks and 100 miles apart?
I mean, 100 miles ain't shit.
That ain't nothing.
Unless you're running. But
then one day, the investigator who was working on her case, Monica's, Detective Noble, he was standing in front of her house, and he noticed a truck stop at the end of her block and the interstate just beyond it.
So smart.
So as he was sitting there, he was like, no. And he automatically just did not feel good about it. So that's my part where she didn't lock her doors, but she had a truck stop that close. Like if you could see it from your front door, then it had to be close.
Yeah, that's where outsiders come.
Yes. For play. Then on July 30th.
Okay. This is very quick.
Yes.
Like these are very close
like
together.
2 weeks apart.
Yeah.
He waited till he got far enough while driving, is what I would say. On July 30th, 2007, Adam Lane visits another beautiful neighborhood. This is Chelmsford, Massachusetts. It's also described as picturesque and quaint, even with an interstate running right through it.
So he didn't pick big cities. He went to little suburbs.
Yep.
Huh.
So we have parents Kevin and Jeannie McDonough. Is that how you'd say their last name?
Could be McDonough.
McDonough?
Who knows?
Let's say Kevin and Jeannie McDonough. McDonough. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, just know that they're cool.
Yeah.
They have a daughter, Shay, and she gets home at like 11 p.m. Guess what I also didn't do? Double check to see how old she was. I think she was like 18.
Well, she's getting home at 11 and they talk about her parents and made a point to. She's probably
16 to 18.
Around that range.
I would agree. She leaves the back door unlocked for her brother that was coming home after her, but she didn't know that her brother had called and said he was going to go spend the night at a friend's house. So that was the only door that was unlocked. Now, what they didn't know is that 2 other neighbors had called the cops that night in their neighborhood, both reporting a man in all black, seemingly trying to break into their houses. One of the women saw him like on the back patio and called 911, and then the other one actually like he was trying to break in, and she truly believed that he was in the house. And he wasn't. He had continued and fled.
Yeah.
At 4 a.m. And I'm pulling this from the NBC News interview with them because I just felt like I should, because we don't always get these interviews. And whenever we do, God, do they hit, you know?
Yeah.
It's around 4 a.m. Jeannie and Kevin were asleep in their bedroom. Their daughter, Shay, is in the next room. The girl remembers feeling something on her neck and waking up.
God, I can't get over that. Sorry.
Oh my God, I know.
I just think about when I hear like a little bitty noise, let alone that.
I just think about the sound of one of my dogs throwing up in the middle of the night and how that fucking just jolts me out of bed.
Oh my God, I'm going to quit.
Yeah. Dog action. It's real shit. I'm just saying. Anyway, that's what I think of when you're like, oh, knife to the throat. Whenever you wake up, I'm over here like, oh, just the thought of a dog vomiting on my bed is enough for me. Yeah.
You're right.
But I also cannot sleep with any of my doors like ever unlocked.
No.
Except for that one time that I woke up and my front door was open in the winter while it was snowing because the wind blew it open because I did not lock the door. Anywho, that happened. So Shay says, I kind of just assumed that it was a knife because the blade and everything. It was just cold, and I could just feel like I could just feel it like being pressed down. The question, they're like, did you panic or did you? And she goes, no. And they're like, you didn't? And she goes, no. My first instinct was that it was my brother. And then I was thinking, I don't even know what I was thinking, but I heard his voice and he spoke to me saying, if I make any noise, he'll fucking kill me. So she thought it was her brother playing a joke on her first.
Yeah. I mean,
a really fucked up one. In the darkness, she made out the shape of a man wearing a mask hovering over her. Even in that moment, she felt remarkably calm. And the reason, and this is how you know she's a little kid, is that she was like, my parents are in the other room. So in her mind, she couldn't be killed because her parents were in the other room, not knowing, unbeknownst to her, that all these other women were killed with people in the house too.
Oh, man. To be young.
So she goes, I just tried to like make as much noise out of my mouth as I could, just like screaming, but it didn't sound like screams at all because of how hard he was pushing down on my mouth. But it was enough to wake up both of her parents. So then the interviewer's like, what made you decide to get out of bed and go check? And Kevin goes, something told us to go. And Jeannie said, yeah. And Kevin was like, thank God. And Jeannie goes, yeah. They shuffled out of their bedroom, opened the door to Shay's room, and they basically are like, I stepped into the fucking Twilight Zone. Like, you hear your daughter scream. I don't know how you would even fathom that. Like, walking into the room, if somebody was standing over Jay in the middle of the night, just a stranger, and I'm just like, what the absolute fucking shit?
Yeah, that's terrifying.
So Kevin, he said, and the first thing I see is a black silhouette bent over her. And I said, what are you doing? And he turned to me, and the mask is what scared me the most. So I just grabbed both of his wrists, and I said, knife. For a moment, Kevin toppled the figure, but the man, about 4 inches taller than him, and also 70 pounds heavier, regained his footing. FYI, they list out their weight. So his wife was 135, he was 160, and this fucking cuntwad was 245.
Oh, big boy.
Big boy. Mm-hmm. And that much taller than him.
Yeah.
And then Kevin goes, he stood up like a bear. Oh, that would be terrifying.
This is like Michael Myers.
Yes. And then Kevin just held on to him. And so he instinctively said, okay, I let go of the left hand. I never let go of the knife with the right. And I just put a chokehold on him and threw myself back and hit the wall and choked him out.
Go, Kevin.
And Hoda is the one interviewing him. And she goes, how did you subdue him? Where did you get that from? He goes, I have no idea. I'm going to guess my instinct to protect. Because he's a normal fucking dude. Yeah. And now he's just bear clawing up a fucking statue.
You got to do what you got to do.
If you can imagine this, with his back against the bedroom wall, he kept this 6-foot stranger locked in a chokehold as his wife, Jeannie, grabbed the knife. She ended up getting stabbed a few times. Like, her hands ended up getting cut up.
Yeah, I bet.
Shay jumped into action, too. She called 911 because, and FYI, they thought that the guy had a gun, which he did not have a gun. But I'm going to read the transcript for the 911 call. But could you imagine holding someone that wants to kill you in a chokehold? Do you know what kind of soreness that would create in your arm? Like, how much like pressure it would take for you to do that for someone who is genetically bigger and stronger than you, and hold it until the cops got there.
No, hopefully it didn't take too long, since you keep saying quaint. So hopefully the quaint cops got there quickly. But no.
I agree.
Absolutely not. Good for you. Way to go.
Go them. So Shay called. She goes, a man came in with a gun and put it on my neck, and he hurt both my parents. The dispatcher's like, all right, just relax. And Kevin's like, hurry up in the background.
I bet he is.
The dispatcher is saying, is he still there? All right, hold on. He's still out there. Like, I don't know how he did it, because the guy stayed conscious the whole time. And he ended up getting arrested. As it turns out, the stranger didn't have a gun, but he was well armed. He had numerous knives, a Chinese throwing star, and I try so hard not to laugh at that.
Okay. I have a question.
Bruce Lee.
What? Why? Where did he get? Okay, just go. I can't unpack it. I'm too tired.
Choking wire, a leather mask, and a hood. The person that was like taking the things off of him was just like, I was like blown away. Like the cop was like, what the fuck? Like they were just so surprised at his 18 different.
Yeah.
It's like me coming out with my fucking wood block with all my kitchen knives and just like, I came prepared.
Yeah. And then okay. I got thrown off by the star. It threw me. So I'd never heard that listed as a weapon used.
One other time there was a Chinese throwing star, and I feel like it was one of your fucking weirdos.
It had to have been. That seems more on brand. That's why I was like, wait.
It was very on brand for you.
Yeah.
You feel like you would do stories about guys who carry Chinese throwing stars.
Yeah, where'd that ninja star come from?
Right? I don't know.
And what was he going to do with it? This is your fault. You knew that would throw me. And
yes, I did.
Because you're smiling.
Because it's funny. When I was typing it, I was like, this is unfortunately making me laugh.
I can't imagine him being like getting his stupid shit ready.
He's only been doing this for 2 weeks. Like when you really stop and realize, like he's been a 2-week serial killer.
At a truck stop.
For sure.
For sure.
In,
right next
Texas.
right next to the boner pills. Like in the B12 shots. No, I want to unpack it. So, all right, go.
So anyway, the cops are like, what the fuck is this guy doing? And like, why?
Yeah.
Like they could not, who is he? They don't understand. They're like, what was his end game?
I don't either.
I know. Adam Leroy Lane, he was a trucker from North Carolina with no criminal history.
What?
At first, they were convinced that Lane had been trying to sexually assault Shay, but they were about to search the trucker's rig, which was parked near their house.
How
creepy.
Just a semi.
Just a
park
fucking semi.
In a neighborhood. And
that's when they find something else. Dun, dun, dun.
What?
Dun, dun, dun. No, the one thing that they're so like NBC, man, the way they write it, they're like, and then they found the one thing that explained what his true intentions were.
And then they would go to commercial break and then recap for 5 more minutes. And then, I love you, NBC, I'm just saying. And then, just in case you tune in halfway through, you'll be all caught up.
Yes. In his rig, they find the movie Hunting Humans. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Me either. I don't know. It sounds like it's a normal like it doesn't sound like it's a.
I'm gonna look that up while you keep going.
So they find the movie Hunting Humans, which is about a serial killer with no real motive other than to just kill people. Hundreds of miles away. Okay, I'm gonna let you look that up because I need to know that before we carry on.
Yeah, it came out in 2002. All it tells me is he's young, he's handsome, he's successful. Anyway, we're still loading.
It's a Ted Bundy experience, I'm guessing.
He picked his victims at random, stalking them and taking advantage of the patterns in their life to kill. His name's Eric Blue. Eric with an A, by the way. And the picture is terrifying, like the cover. Just so you know, according to IMDb.
That is pretty terrifying.
Eric Blue.
So, hundreds of miles away, the detective working on Monica's case is now sniffing around the truck stop and the highway. They now believe that Monica was a random act of violence, but believe it will be damn near impossible to figure out who it is. So they're like, I don't know what the fuck to do. It's a popular truck stop. Like, so many people are in and out, but we'll figure it out, tie it together, whatever. Yeah. Well, look at this shit.
All right.
The detectives are talking, though, once more. So the detectives are automatically talking. I am very pleased by that. Of different cities.
That's good.
They're not expecting it to be anything from what I could tell in the vibes of what I was reading. It's like they were entertaining the fact that they just have to communicate because they live close enough and it was the same mode of
Yeah. This is definitely very 2000s because they're like, yeah, we'll talk to you. If it would have been an older story, normally they'd be like, this is my turf and this is my territory, my jurisdiction. Damn it.
They didn't use the same type of knife, and it was 4 minutes later than the last time that it happened.
Your man's 6'2", mine's 6'1". Get off my property.
He didn't have a pot belly. Here's a beer belly. This ain't the same thing. Motherfuckers.
What
anyway,
are you doing?
So I don't know. We didn't stop. But they weren't expecting it to be anything. And then he mentions the city that Monica was killed in, which was Bloomsbury. And the damn detective finds a receipt in the rig for that city at the truck stop down the street from Monica's house the day she died.
Oh.
Just like that. This dude got caught. Like, they literally go through and explain it, and the guy goes, what city is it? And he goes, yeah, it's Bloomsbury. And he's like, what day did she die? And they say the date, and the line just goes quiet.
And they just happened to...
Because the guy was cleaning out the rig and was like,
yeah.
That is the actual truck stop right by her house.
What are the...
But look at this shit.
What? Quit.
Within that time frame.
I hate when you say that because it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad.
So...
But good.
He ended up swapping out his rig at some point in that, and the guy who took it over literally just pulled up to like a trash can and dumped all his shit and threw it all away. So these cops, man, they suited up. They went dumpster diving, and they found his clothes.
They did?
They did, and on those clothes, they found blonde hair matching Monica and blood. Now, they were black clothes, so they were like, we couldn't tell what the stain was, but the more you know.
Yes.
Now we're going to jump back into this interview from NBC. So Detective Geoff, better known as Jeff Noble, he goes, because this is the interview part. And I asked him a point blank question. I said, did you assault somebody in New Jersey? Lane grew silent. At this point, the video cuts out, but a separate audio tape captures Lane mumbling something. Lane says, I'm done. The detective's like, and ultimately, he says the word, I'm done. I interpreted that to mean I'm done, meaning I'm done with the interview.
You have to tell me. You have to tell me, and I need you to tell me right now.
Okay. Well, then the interviewer was like, at that moment, did you think that you guys were done? Like, oh, okay, well, I had my chance and I lost it. And he's like, I did. I thought he was ready, like that.
Like, I'm done talking.
Yes,
okay.
Like it is over. Legally, Noble believed he had to end his interrogation.
Because when you say I'm done.
Yeah. That's when the suspect surprised the detective with his own questions. He wanted to know if New Jersey had the death penalty. The detective told him that the state had not executed anyone in years. Lane continued. The detective says, if you were me, meaning if I, the detective, was him, the suspect, would I talk? And at that time, I said, absolutely, I would talk. And during that interaction between he and I, it was at that point that I knew, obviously, for sure, that Adam Lane was our killer and that he had killed Monica Massaro. And yet the suspect had already ended the formal interrogation. The New Jersey detective believed that legally he could not ask Lane any more questions. With that, Noble and the other investigator left.
They left.
They just left.
Oof.
And then he was in the little interview room and they were outside and he put his head in the window, made eye contact with us, and then he just nodded. And then so they went back in.
He's like, what?
What is that?
What?
Like, I don't even know. I guess to the guy, he was saying, like, Lane was saying, I'm done. I'm going to tell you guys the truth. And the cops just walk out.
Yeah.
So he's probably like really confused.
He's probably like, I was trying to get something off my chest. I would like to have a chat.
Yeah.
I guess, well, that, he should word it better. He should be better all around, but especially in this case.
It's
because
like just such
and the
a
detective, because they have to be careful, because if he says something and they do it wrong, then they could get thrown out. So
I mean,
good for the cops for doing
cops
that,
are doing the right thing.
But which is
it just seems like it was really funny. And
I know.
weird.
I'd be like, oh shit, he meant he wanted to talk. Get back in here. Like,
yeah,
come on.
And that's when they said the investigation into Monica's murder had the most dramatic turn. When the camera came back on, Lane allowed the detectives to resume the interrogation, which apparently they never had to have stopped. Yes, he told them he knew all about that woman in New Jersey. Lane says, quote, I had the knife. It was on the bed, about that long, and she rolled against it, and it cut right here. There weren't nothing to do.
There weren't nothing.
So he says
she rolled over on top of the knife.
Yes. She slit her throat.
Oh,
by leaning over.
What?
And I'm like, okay.
There weren't nothing to do.
And she had a struggle in the bed. Like, we know that.
Like, you can't just roll over and slit your own throat. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Very dumb. He offered his version of that night in New Jersey, how he went looking to rob and found an unlocked door. He said that the victim fought back and accidentally slit her throat on his knife.
Man, accidentally. That's so dumb. This guy's dumb.
Yes.
And he sucks.
He's stupid. And
he's
weeks after but okay, so he admitted to Monica. That was him admitting, I killed Monica.
Okay.
Which, fuck you.
Yeah. For all this.
Yeah. A week after his confession in August of 2007, test results came back on the knives confiscated from Adam Leroy Lane. They say one knife tested positive for the blood of yet another victim. Dun, 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 a woman from Pennsylvania. And that's how they found out that he murdered Darlene Ewald. Oh. And Todd got to get off the hook because Todd was actually being fully charged. He wasn't being charged, but they never assumed it wasn't him.
So was he arrested during that time?
From what it sounded like, he wasn't arrested, but that's because they didn't have enough evidence. But they were trying to find it.
So they it's pinned small it on town Todd. Too. That's such a movie too.
But we're talking, that was August. It was July 7th or something when she was killed. So less than a month.
Still, rough month.
And it was a terrible month.
Yeah.
Terrible
His wife
month.
died. Everybody thought he did it. He's got a kid.
I don't know that anyone did because besides the cops in that moment.
Yeah.
I don't know.
People be talking.
You're right. Because Chet's like, I was on the phone and then she just got her throat sliced.
And then the second one secretary at a small police station hears that she was on the phone with another guy at nighttime, like that, all of it, that's very Lifetime movie-y. And they might be bored. Want to stir that pot, fart in that elevator and shut it. I'm glad he got out of it. That stinky fucking elevator. You're just going to let me go. You're staring at me like,
okay. Keep going, lady.
Okay, I will.
No, I was just happy that it wasn't 6 years later and he had done 4 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
we've heard that.
They said that, or Todd said himself, he was like, I'm still angry. He was interviewed in this whole thing too, and he was like, I'm still mad.
Yeah.
And he's like, they picked me so fast.
Yeah. Which they always had to look in and then go out, but they apparently just looked in and didn't look any farther, which this one
But it was 5 minutes, right?
Yeah. This one's such
I also say, too, though, I cannot fathom in any way, shape, or form you sitting on your back patio on the phone and someone, stranger danger, killing you. She's the reason I picked the story. Because it was just so fucking bizarre.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't sit outside for 4 hours in July. So you have that.
Right? Well, PA, it's cooler.
No,
but yeah.
Yeah, that's...
I'm never going to be on the phone with anyone for 4 hours. I can tell you that. But it was 2007.
Yeah.
I feel like there were times in my life where I was a chatty Cathy. But it ain't now, and it ain't today. So Lane received a 25 to 30-year sentence in Massachusetts for the attack on Shay.
Okay.
So he got...
For the attack, he got 30 years?
25 to 30 years for attacking the
good
girl in her house.
For them for throwing the book at him, because most of the time they...
That would have been nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, here's probation.
Yeah.
And $50 for your troubles. Motherfuckers. The New Jersey, not the New Jersey.
the New Jersey,
yes.
not just the one.
Yeah.
The real one.
Yes. They sentenced him to 50 years for the murder of Monica Massaro.
Good. Well, you know what I mean.
You're happy that she was killed? In Pennsylvania, Lane pleaded guilty in order to avoid the death penalty. He was sentenced to 10 to 20 years for the attempted murder of the woman in York County, which was Patricia, and to life for the murder for Darlene Ewald. He is serving his sentences in State Correctional Institution Fayette.
What? Adam Leroy Lane? Mm-hmm. Is that his name?
Oh, yeah. He got blood all over his face in the photo, too, when he was arrested. I'm going to guess from somebody.
Oh, God.
Yeah, from somebody hitting him in the face.
He's terrifying.
I'm going to guess his dad, or her dad. I'm sorry, Shay's dad. Let me see.
Oh, God. There's his mugshot. You're going to have nightmares because I'm going to now.
Oh, no, I've seen him. I'm like, what? That's the first time I want to make sure. Look at that
mustache when he was like it's covering his lips.
The families of Monica and Darlene are grateful for the cops, but more grateful for the McDonoughs.
The second part of it's spelled like though.
It's McDonouth.
TH?
No.
GH. I was like, well, that just threw me for a whole loop.
Well, anyway. They are the ones that really saved them all. I love that.
Yeah.
So the whole family was so grateful for that family.
Yeah.
So Kevin said, which was the dad, right? The McDonough.
We're just going to
Kevin
stick
McDonough.
with that. Yeah.
I had made a comment that there were angels in the house that night, and I firmly believe it. Jeannie said, I definitely believe it. Hoda had said, what kind of angels? Jeannie said, I think it could have been the spirit of the two women who had just been killed, Darlene and Monica. I just feel the circumstances and the way they played out and all the things that could have happened that didn't happen and the things that did happen. There's no other explanation to me. Kevin said there was too many circumstances, so I feel he was sent there by God to be stopped there. Enough of your antics.
Oh.
So in the media, they actually, just so you guys know, and you have things that you can look up, the story has been presented in the Dateline NBC series, which is likely what I just quoted to you, and the 48 Hours mystery episode, Live to Tell Hunting Humans, that aired on February 26, 2011. The case was also featured in episode 2, season 2 of Nightmare Next Door, and episode 5, season 7 of Castle.
Oh,
yeah.
I forgot about that show.
I randomly watched it on my honeymoon. It was in one of the hotels that we had stopped at. In 2013, Shay McDonough told her story in a documentary titled I Survived a Serial Killer.
That's
one on there
that I saw.
Also, it was featured in Reader's Digest, July 2011, in an article entitled Caught in the Act. Also, in season 1 of The Coroner, I Speak for the Dead, episode 2, titled Call the Coroner.
Jeannie McDonough wrote a book.
Yeah.
That is on Amazon called Caught in the Act, because I wanted to see what Kevin looked like, because I just pictured that. I wanted to see how small he looked in comparison with that big old gorilla and stupid Adam Lane guy, like hanging off the back of him.
I want to look at Kevin.
I know, I tried to find him, but apparently there's like a pastor that has his name and did all this other stuff. So
he did. Oh.
Yeah, but I wanted to see, and mainly it's
attorney.
Mainly it's the mom.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's wild.
It is a wild story.
And then he had like no parking ticket, no nothing, and then all of a sudden he's just like, "This is what I'm going to do."
He saw a movie,
which something had to be whacked out anyway, though, because you don't just
that is just
think about all the
very Bill Clinton thing of me to say. It's the movie. It's the movie. I don't think anything was wrong with him before. I think it's the media.
Yeah.
No, I just think that the dude was off kilter. My apologies for not literally talking about him at all. I kind of ran into the storyline of the people, and then I was really interested in the fact that he was caught in the act, and then it took a minute, and then all these other detectives actually communicated and like figured things out. Mm-hmm. It's almost like a movie.
Yeah, it is.
And I see why it was in the media in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fuck that guy.
I definitely want to watch it again. Or, I mean, I didn't watch it. I read it. But I'd like to watch something about it. Now that I know that there's all these... I was so annoyed that I'd picked the story. So, as I mentioned, I picked the story multiple times.
Yeah.
And had to find a new story.
Yeah.
And even today... So, I'd picked a new one out last night. Thought I took a screenshot. Did not. And then I got in and had to pick another story. So, this was my third truck driver killer story that I've read. Thank you, Avery, for picking something that ended up me forgetting like 3 different times who the person was. So this one wasn't even the one I was looking at. He was the highway killer.
Yeah, I'd never heard about this one before, and I've seen all those stories, so maybe it just blended together after a while.
How intriguing is it that he was a trucker? All of them were acts of random violence, and he still got caught within a month.
I'm glad that he did get caught, because he probably wasn't going to slow down anytime soon.
I agree. But if he was taking 2 weeks between or whatever we were, like he didn't get far. Like if you're going to do that, like don't be kicking over here on the in New England, just fucking bebopping through the same states like he's fucking leaf peeping in the fall. And then just fucking doing some lazy murders.
Any excuse to say that word.
Always.
Those words, not that one. There's 2 of those.
It is. I'm glad that you know that too.
I do. You know what else I know?
What?
It's time to go.
It is time to go. Can we all rate, review, listen, subscribe?
Yes.
Is there something else? Did I say too many?
You added the word listen, which hopefully they've successfully done as of now. But yes, subscribe. It's free. It'll help you. It'll help us. It'll help everyone. And then rate and tell everyone you know.
Yes.
That's it.
Thank you guys. And bye, Avery.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Theodore, can I bet that